So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our special video. And let's talk about Neptune today. Neptune, not astronomically, Neptune, Vedic astrologically. And obviously, the reason why I'm going to talk about it, because I can talk about it now. Because I've been using it for a while. I have studied it over the last couple of years. Okay. Not just Neptune, but Uranus. Pluto is something still a mystery for me. And boy, talk about the actual pun. It is a mysterious planet. But we're going to be talking about Neptune. And if you do not know which house, sign, and nakshatra Neptune is in your particular chart, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, which now comes with my book, Nakshatras at the Speed of Light. Okay, starting yesterday only. So if you got it yesterday, beyond. The Nakshatras at the Speed of Light book will come with that, along with all your astrological details there, including my consultations and books, and link to my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy, where I teach you a thing or two about astrology, making complicated simple. So anyway, let's not waste time and let's talk about Neptune. So if there's one word I want to leave you with today, is addiction. You probably thought I was going to illusion. That is a secondary thing. Addiction. And this is something, again, you may have different understanding. Certain experts of Vedic astrology will have certain understanding of Neptune, which is excellent because you can then find out, again, because if somebody is doing observational astrology with any of the planets, you will see that those things become more valid than something which was written. In my case, whenever I was doing certain readings, like especially my nakshatra reading, and I saw Neptune with a certain planet, and especially Neptune Rahu, Neptune Venus, Neptune Moon, okay, Neptune Rahu, Venus and Moon, I definitely saw some form of addiction issue. And that too, especially related to either drugs or alcohol, not just something like, well, this person wants to eat sweets or they're addicted to watching certain type of movies and all that. No, this was actually related to the actual intake of liquids. Why? Because Neptune is actually represented by liquid. It's a liquidy planet. It's a gassy planet. So with Neptune, I've seen alcohol, okay, DMT, any kind of a hallucinogen is connected with Neptune, at least in my understanding, in my observation. Neptune is also pretty much related to chemicals, any kind of chemicals. Chemicals could be cosmetics. Chemicals could be your paint on the wall. Chemicals could be oil and petroleum. And especially when I looked at the fact, when Neptune was discovered, I believe 1840 or between 1840 and 1850. Don't quote me on it. But that's the period, lot of things were churning in technology. And especially one of the things that came out of it was kaleidoscope. The first thing that came out was kaleidoscope, moving image that makes you think, again, then now this part of illusion comes in. That makes you think that something is moving. Oh my God, how is it moving? So especially like even when when I was reading the book, Autobiography of a Yogi, when Lahiri Mahasaya took Yogananda on some small walk, there was this guy with a kaleidoscope, which obviously at that point was a bit of an old technology, you can say. And those things came about along with the chemical film. The chemical film, which is what? Photography. I don't know when filmmaking started, but definitely photography has been there for quite a while, right around the time when Neptune was discovered. And so one thing I also saw, especially with Neptune Venus, Neptune Rahu, or Neptune connected with the third house, someone just had love for photography. And even though if let's say somebody was a biomechanical scientist, IT person, yet they would tell me some of the things ahead of time that, look, I have an interest in photography, I have interest in this. So looking at it over and over again, one thing I just suddenly, my brain just connected subconsciously that, oh, Neptune is present. I don't know how many more times previously I must have seen it for my brain to just suddenly say, hey, Neptune is there again. And obviously, this is why Neptune, Uranus, these outer planets are connected with generational movement. Why? Because when something happens generationally, okay, it happens on a conscious level. Like, oh, now people are changing culture. Now people are changing the viewpoint of something. It's not happening physically. It first is happening within the psyche of an individual. And especially whenever I've seen Neptune with Rahu, Ketu, and Moon axis, 100%. Well, I'm not saying 100% the entire world. Every time I have seen it, okay, it's somehow, some way, a person dealt with certain mental issues. So the first thing we saw is this addiction, and especially those issues, the mental issues, definitely led them to drugs as well. Now, if Neptune wasn't there, I wouldn't say it so confidently, because maybe a person is not that. Maybe a person just actually naturally dealing with something, and they're not addicted to drugs. They're not addicted to any kind of liquids, but they're there. But that issue, mental issue, is there. But the mental issue with Neptune definitely leads to a certain addiction, because then person is trying to escape. Person's trying to escape what they're dealing with. And so Neptune, and you got to realize, and this is why I watched this movie twice in a theater, even though I didn't have to. It wasn't like a most amazing movie for me, but when I saw Ad Astra, starring Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones, when he goes to Neptune, it was just, like when you watch a horror movie, the hairs on your arm stand up, right? It just stands up, and you're like feeling that fear that the director is trying to portray. With that movie Ad Astra, when he goes to Neptune, there is this some mystical energy that was being felt by me, at least. Like, if let's say Brad Pitt went to Jupiter, Brad Pitt went to even Uranus, I don't think it has not given me that, because we did see Interstellar near Saturn, and it was just like a wow, beautiful feeling. This is just a beautiful, amazing planet. But when Ad Astra, you should watch this movie, when he goes towards Neptune, it just feels like this deep cave far away from the world. It's mysterious, it's lonely. And that is the essence. And the second time I watched it, I clearly remember the second time I watched it, in my phone, I looked at the Prashna. I looked at the Prashna in the ascendant was Neptune transiting. And I'm like, of course, Vedic astrology, you're going to do this. But I understood, not only was I actually watching something related to Neptune, but the feelings that I was feeling, I was registering that. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this way. Because the planet is, again, illusion, movies, right? Neptune, illusion. And it's trying to give you its energy through its own medium. That, look, I am not just some planet to be messing with. I am something so vastly far away and mysterious that I am going to make you feel my mysteriousness, so you may stay away from it. And this is what Neptune is. It is this, first of all, you can't see Neptune with the naked eye. So it automatically shows that there's something so far and dim in the forest of the solar system that once you reach it, you feel this fear inside you. And so Neptune becomes fear, because fear is most of the time illusionary. So if you walk into a dark home, lights are off, the first thing you're looking for is turn on the lights, because you just feel something in front of you, in the back of you, even though nothing's there. Sometimes it could be there, but most of the time it's not there. It's that feeling, that illusion that starts rattling up in your brain, that is that Neptune subconscious infusing itself on you, because you are part of this surrounded boundaries of solar system. See, the other thing we relate to Neptune is magic. Whether it's a magician or somebody just performing some form of illusion that makes you feel that something is real. Whether somebody creates some kind of an optical game, you go on some kind of a ride at Disney World, and you just feel like for example, Back to the Future ride at Universal Studios. When I went to Universal Studios just because of that ride so many times in 1 year. It's like because I wanted to experience how real it felt with the movement and the, the screen. So magic comes into play, but magic can also be related with falsehood, right? Something which is false. And one of the things that Neptune can do very well, it will always try to triangulate somebody's perception and change it right in front of them. And one of the crucial things that I saw, especially with Prashna, I don't know if you guys can hear with this plane, but whenever I was watching some kind of a news from media, mainstream media, and I ran the Prashna, Neptune was somehow either affecting the ascendant or the third house of information. So whenever I watch some news that is very important, I run Prashna. Prashna is simply, so if you're new to Vedic astrology, is simply you look at the time, date of the moment that you are at, the city that you're at, and you open up at the exact same time, and you look at what's happening in the chart in the sky right now, because that is the same things that are going to be happening around you. And so whenever, especially nowadays, everybody's stuck to their phone, social media, watching things online. So that means the third house is now fully active, fully, there in our lives. And ascendant is naturally the subject itself. What is the subject that I am dealing with right now? So this was one of the other crucial things that I kind of extracted. That media, when certain things that I questioned, once I watched this, and later on I saw, oh, it did turn out to be not what they were saying. So it becomes quite a helpful tool. It's kind of like cosmic fact check. Cosmic fact check, So, I mean, that's my fact check right there when I open the Prashna. But of course, you need to know what you're doing when looking at the Prashna, because Prashna is so deep, I don't think you can master everything about the Prashna. Certain thing I can definitely master certain things with Prashna. When I look at it, it's like I just know. So this is what Neptune really is. It is truly what they say, that deception, that illusion, but I really saw that addictiveness in a person, especially in an individual chart. And maybe, yes, the person who suggested me this question actually did say, I think it was that person, somebody below them actually commented like, you should do a series on Neptune through houses, and maybe I will. Once I finish with one of these series that I'm doing right now, maybe I will. Till then, if you want to know where your Neptune is placed and understanding Neptune, check out the links at my website, astrologykrs.com. And I may actually make some videos on my KRS vlogs on my academy, which you'll also find on my website too. So I might actually expand that in my academy now. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.